Welcome back to another episode of Chaotic Harmony, episode 141. I am your host today, Jonathan Seligman, and today I am joined by the one who brings the fun, Jamie John. Hello, Jamie.
That's me. Hi.
And also I am joined by the sensible one, as well as the CMEA CAP elementary music educator of awesomeness, Jasmine Mah. Hello, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, you are definitely well-deserved, and congrats to you, Jasmine. We are middling, I'm not sure, February. How is 2026? Is it, February is a weird
Middling?
28. It's 28 days in February. So it's not like a 31 typical or 30. I have to kind of calculate.
We're not even halfway through February.
It's entering.
We're not even in the, we're only in the night.
Also, like Jamie and I, for example, we have like a week off in February. So it's even shorter than that. Like
a week?
Yeah. We have
Because of President's Day.
So rather than getting 2-3 day weekends, we get 1 week off.
Okay.
Don't be jealous, everybody.
So I'm just gonna say, like, if the 9th of February is the middling, it's not mathing, but it's middling.
Today.
So how is your 2026 going so far? Just in like quick bits.
Well, I'm not as sick as I was last year. So it's still February. We still have like how many more months to go before I get sick again?
How frequently do you get sick?
It was only last year that it was the most I've ever gotten at one like short period of time. I was sick 4 times in a row for 3 months. I mean, you know about one of them.
Yes, I do. Uh-huh.
Yes. And then I got pneumonia right after. And then, well, before that I had a cold, then I had shingles, then I had pneumonia, and then I got a cold again.
Okay, so it means that your immune system is ready to like fight off anything for the next 9 years. Is that correct?
I hope so. That's what I'm hoping for 2026. Please body, do not get sick again. I would not like to postpone any more workshops.
Indeed. Jasmine, how about you? How's your
I feel like I'm the opposite. I just keep getting sick.
Aw.
So I had this weird stomach bug, and now I'm still like, I've had the sinus infection for the past month of January, and I'm still like getting over that. So I'm like, I'm hoping at the Lunar New Year that I'm good, because at least how my family says it in Lunar New Year is like Lunar New Year day. How you feel that day is how you're gonna feel for the rest of the year. So I don't want to be sick for the rest of the year.
I'll knock on some fake wood for you on that one. Yeah, I guess for me, yeah, I'm I'm trying to make sure that the sicknesses stay away, because there's just too much going on where I can't, like, there's no pinpoint where, okay, I just wait for a President's Day weekend and I can get sick for a little bit. No, like, there's stuff happening that weekend as well. So
you don't want to be sick on your days off either.
You know,
honestly,
this is true.
Yeah.
But then when do you get sick?
You can't make that the goal. Like, I'll
don't last to the break.
Yeah,
I hate that when I'm like, I'm sick for the whole break and I don't actually rest. I'm so busy recovering when I go back to work.
Yeah, okay, you should not. Nobody should make that the goal.
Okay, fair. But if you had to choose between a work day or a weekend, not to just divulge an illness, which one would you choose?
I get that.
Let us know. But this is not Medical Harmony. This is Chaotic Harmony, the show where we talk about the joys, struggles, and all things adjacent, like illness, to elementary music. Last week, we interviewed the lovely Athena Reyes and Brittany Case talking about co-teaching, where those two deal with, I forget, was it like 90 kids with 2 teachers sometimes? The cap is weird for that district, but they are still the district uses co-teaching in a really cool way. And so, and also those two are just wonderful people. So make sure you check that one out. Also, next week, we'll be interviewing Matthew Trevino, a longtime listener and also a longtime amazing music teacher. So if you have any questions, do send us some cues before, I want to say Monday. So you have a few days, but otherwise come join us next week. That all said, we had ORF conference a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, aka Kentucky, but something happened a little closer and more recent. CASMEC. So, Jasmine, I'll start with you. To us, to non-bear folk, that's Californian's mark, by the way. What is CASMEC?
So CASMEC is the California State Music Educators Conference, and this takes music educators from all over California, multiple types of pedagogy methods, from elementary to secondary, and it's through CMEA, the California Music Educators Association, who hosts this big conference, like all state. So you'll see a lot of honor bands, a lot of honor choirs. They had a lot more elementary groups this year, which was nice to see. But it's multiple different types of, like, it's a big conference, but it's supposed to encapsulate like all types of music education from elementary to secondary.
Hmm. I remember like last year when we talked about it, like you said, they're growing the elementary section of it. Have you seen more growth lately in that?
In a way.
In a way, can you
You
expound,
guess will
Jamie?
yeah. Oh, well, I figure we'll talk about it more in later on, but like expand in a way that they got more sponsors from different organizations or music stores that were selling products. So
Oh, okay.
yes. And I guess I'll leave it at that and we can expound a little more later.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, because for myself, I've only really attended a local conference, which is like San Diego. It's not even like a big state conference. I've also attended ORF conference, done NAM, which is the exact opposite of the San Diego local conference. What kind of things do they sell at like a relative, like a big state conference? And what would be like, when you're talking about like things that are booths that are being sold? What is it?
Yeah, a lot of tables, it kind of varies. Like, you'll see a lot of, like, marching band costuming, fundraising for trips, because that's something very common within the larger secondary ensembles. But you'll also see, like, many areas that are selling curriculum, such as Quaver and Play, I think it's called, and
Music play.
Music Play, that's what it is. And many of those, and then you might see a few that are familiar in the AOSA world, like Parapole, West
Purple.
Music.
Mhm.
So it's a very big variety. You'll also see a lot of school districts recruiting at CASMEC. So a lot of school districts being like, here are the positions we have open, or please join our wait list to join blank.
Oh, okay. Districts recruiting. I guess it makes sense. It's just, again, as someone who never attends these kind of events, it seems foreign to me. But that's fascinating. Okay. And we mentioned this in our last episode, which was, I don't know. You guys can look. You guys can sleuth probably
I
90.
don't know how you can keep track of this stuff. I forget too.
It's been a while.
It's been a
Yeah.
year. It's been a
Yeah,
year.
it's been a year.
And so we mentioned in that last episode, but to our new listeners, how would you differentiate CASMEC from other conferences? A lot of our listeners have been to ORF conference. Some have been to Oak. But what's the best way to kind of differentiate CASMEC from any of the other ones? And I started with Jasmine, the other one. Jamie, how about you?
I guess it's similar to what Jasmine was saying. I guess it's kind of hard for us to really say because I'm maybe I don't know about you two, but I've only music education conferences, the only ones I've been to have been AOSA and CASMEC. So I haven't been the one for Kodai, I haven't been for one for Fire Robin or any other approach, really. I'm sure there are other ones, and but I've only really been to these two. So in comparison to ORF conference and this one um goes into try to include different approaches and pedagogies. They try to get elementary, middle school, and high school, and try to get orchestra, choir, and band, and marching band, or all these different variety of like ensembles. And they do try to include some sessions and some organizations about from music stores. So there was a session about repairing instruments, and there was a session about technology, of course, or music tech and how you can use it. So I feel like CASMEC, they try to hit all these different pathways of being a music educator. I'm sure they do that at NAFME as well, but I've never been to NAFME, so it's
Is
hard
there
to
a national
compare.
conference?
I thought this
Yeah.
was. Oh,
Oh,
it is.
wow.
Oh, okay.
Shoot.
Because I was like, I know CMEA is also through NAFME as well at times.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is a national. Now I'm second guessing myself. I swear there is one. I swear there is a national one for music educators. It's just because I remember talking to my mom about this too, because she's also a music teacher. So I'm sure there is one.
Oh, okay. I just did a little quick search. It looks like there's a biennial. They do it every other year. So there's
Okay,
See,
okay,
there is
okay. I
one.
was like,
Maybe second guess.
oh shoot, it's in Long Beach.
Oh, hey, there we go.
oh,
Oh,
CH
oh.
NAFME review.
I mean, it wouldn't be until September, but anyways, we can talk about that later in a later episode. But okay, but gotcha. So the thing is though, we're gonna get more into like the things that we liked a lot. Um, maybe I'm doing this backwards, but already I kind of hear that from the things you're sharing, they're getting better at elementary, but they're not there yet. And I feel like I noticed this from other people who talk about conferences outside of ORF, more like conferences that try to be inclusive to, um, or I shouldn't be inclusive, but trying to wide span who their audience is. Why do you feel like it's always secondary focused? Is there like, why do you think it's often secondary focus?
Your turn.
I think for me, I think it's more secondary focused. And that's just mainly because a lot of districts in California, prior to Prop 28, didn't have elementary. It's only been secondary. So they've been catering to their largest population. And now with Prop 28 funds that there's so many new elementary school music teachers and there's so many openings for elementary ed, they're trying to cater towards that and cater towards the recruitment of elementary ed and show how it can be ideal in a classroom. Or for a lot of teachers who might be moving from secondary to elementary without any experience, how can they transition easier? Is what I've noticed. And I think that's where it's kind of hard in the sense of like, I think California is still learning what elementary music is, though there's some districts that understand it. There's still districts that I think misinterpret what elementary music could be and have like a narrow focus, such as ensembles.
Okay, so you think this is more of an epidemic amongst California than you think the broader scope. At least you're just postulating that be the case. Interesting. Jamie, do you want to add on to that? Yeah.
Oh, I
Or
definitely
do you think she
agree.
hit it? Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there are so many different facets, and that's probably one of them. But I feel like the other thing that happens every time I go to a secondary session or meet with other secondary music teachers, whether it's a meeting or training or whatever, the language and attitude is not very favorable to elementary, is the feeling that I get. So here's one session where the very first session of the day that I went to, it was actually about retention for in Title I schools for a music program. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should try going to this one. And so there were a couple of secondary teachers who were talking about it, and they were giving some good points or saying, oh, you should definitely do this and do that. The language that one of them used, she said, um, elementary, don't be afraid to ask the secondary teachers for help. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we kind of do, but it's more like collaboration, is what I was saying in my head. And then the next thing she says after that was, secondary, you have all the power. And she was like, you have the power to decide who goes where and what to do. And then she started going off because I was like, wow, nobody is saying anything about what she's saying. And I'm already turned off to the rest of the session because of
Wait,
that.
so you have the power to what? Like
Yeah,
to manipulate
exactly.
your ensembles? Was it like what
She
I know you
choose
started.
which students go to which schools is what she was implying. And so I'm like, I mean, Jasmine and I have talked about this. We are the ones who are feeding into your programs. Who what is this talk about power? It shouldn't be about power from any side.
It should be about serving the kids first and foremost.
It's always collaboration. It's never because we
Exactly.
all have our own teaching cultures and styles, but how to collaborate and compromise with each other is, I think, the main idea. But I think how they're going about it was you're calling the shots if kids are gonna be in your program, but it's also like we might be seeing a different child than what that secondary teacher might be seeing, and how can we collaborate to make sure that child has a wonderful musical experience in ensembles, or maybe if ensembles aren't the work, how do we still give them a way and a pathway for that creative side to come out, even if it's not ensembles?
Mm. So maybe then you feel like the one of the biggest reasons there's a big divide is because there's such a huge specific paradigm of power in the sphere that already controls the most
This
music education.
illusion or this image that they have power. And
Curious.
so it's like, yeah, and it's not just at CASMEC, it's I'm not gonna name names, but it's also the leadership of people who run CASMEC and the sections too that I've been seeing this and hearing this sort of attitude. And I mean, Jasmine and I have been treated this way and talked to this way.
There
I
has
would be sorry, Jasmine, go for it.
I was gonna say, yeah, to pop off of Jamie, I think it's more of a coming from misinformation because it's that conservatory mindset at times where it's you're feeding your children to an ensemble. Like your job, like I remember my experience was you're teaching your students to go into an ensemble in the future. It wasn't a let's play with this music, let's build that creativity. Sorry, there's a really loud motorcycle.
Okay.
When you first started talking, Jasmine, because of the wind blowing and the way you started saying is almost like you're a newscaster. It's like, we're here live over.
You're live. Uh, what I've noticed is sometimes it comes from that spot of misinformation that what our jobs actually are. Where I've had secondary teachers come up to me and tell me my job was easy or that my job was unneeded. And that's why I say from the many districts that don't have elementary theaters or don't have elementary music teachers might be coming from that mind place of, well, I've been doing fine without an elementary theater. What's going to change now?
Hmm. I think several things. One, I'd be curious to hear from elementary teachers in different areas of the country. But let's go a little bit more micro here. Amongst all those events, performances, workshops, uh, seeing each other at at the coffee shops, whatnot, whatever. What's one thing that really stood out to you? Actually, let's focus on session. So, what's a session that really stood out to you? And since we did Jamie last time, Jasmine, hit me up.
For me, and it was the one I was like, I'm gonna go to this one no matter what because I love Natasha Thurmon. I had to go to her session, and specifically because I have a lot of special ed classes in my community and a lot of populations that need more accommodations and more supports. So she had specifically a session about special education and music, and a lot of the steps. And it was really cool to see many people had questions because I think, especially in the elementary realm, special education is something that's not really talked about much.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go into it very unprepared. So I was curious to see her opinion on a lot of things. And I think it really helped that a lot of her answers were collaborating with special education teachers, languages to use, on like who to talk to, and specifically going over like our job as music educators for our special education students and our responsibility to also be servicing them. So I really appreciated just that session in general, and then different games that Natasha might be playing with her students, which lead to informances. And some of them I've been like practicing with my students right now, and they absolutely adore.
I love how playful Natasha is, and it's great that I agree there is not a lot of resources in the special ed space for music educators. So that's cool. I that she would have been the reason why I did come up for CASMEC this year, but don't give me that face. Well, one day, one year, one.
Maybe Chaotic Harmony might do a session.
Who
Maybe.
knows? Maybe.
Yep.
Hopefully, hopefully I can attend also stuff outside of the chaotic harmony stuff if we do one. But cool. Natasha was a bit thing that spoke to you, Jasmine. Jamie, how about you? Was there a session that connected?
Like Natasha's, and I feel like one that stood out to me because I've never been before, but I thought it was important to go to was it was titled Transgender Update. So there was a session led by Dr. Emma Joy Jampole, and she is a professor at Stanislaus State. She actually presented last year, but at CASMIC, but I guess I didn't go. This time I went because I thought it was definitely an important thing to go to,
For
especially
sure.
like always. And then she was very informative. She gave a lot of like groundwork of fundamentals of this is the terminology, this is how I'm using it, very professor like. And usually when it's like a lecture for me, I think we talked about it when we were talking about our AOSA conference, how like it's hard for us to sit. It's hard for me to
Oh,
sit.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
But for hers, she made it was informative in a way that I wasn't bored or trailing off. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely like good to know." And she also like spread that groundwork, talked about how does it affect us in music education and what are some ways to be more inclusive in our own classrooms with people who are queer or transgender or like anybody on the spectrum through their identity. And she was very personable too and very friendly and very soft spoken. I really wanted to listen to what she had to say. And then she talked about these are all these like cases and laws that are going to affect us. These are all these executive orders that are either passed or about to be put into the works that we should be aware of. So I really appreciated her presentation as well. And so hopefully she presents every year because I feel like it's and there should be that makes me think there should be more sessions like hers to show like all these diverse topics that we should be aware of and how politics does apply to us.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we are.
Education is political.
If you are a public education teacher, if you're in public education, that is a political stance, whether you like it or not. The fact that our taxpayer dollars goes towards all people is a political statement. I think it's a good one, but I know everyone has different views on that, sadly enough. But when you say there should be, you wish there was more sessions on that. Are you referring to how does politics affect us teachers? How can we be more inclusive in the classroom? Like, well, what exactly, Jamie, are you saying you wish to see more of, or all of the above?
Yeah, ditto, all of the above. Just kidding. Yes, but also I was just thinking when I was saying that how I mean, there are already sessions that are political, but it had more to do with like in California specifically Prop 28 and how that related to us. And also about this transgender update that she was talking about. But I feel like certain laws that have to do with there was nothing there there were no maybe I didn't go to them, but there were no sessions specifically about what to do with ICE, for
Mm,
example. Or
yeah,
how are other districts and schools handling them? To be fair, it's not like they're going to know that ahead of time, like a year in advance when anybody applies to CASMIC. But I feel like it wasn't. I didn't hear it at any of the sessions because it is relevant to us and to our
100%.
students. Exactly. So whatever topic that is political and relates to our students, every political topic relates to our students in some way, whether directly or indirectly. That's one of them.
Yeah. there's someone I follow. It's weird to call her an influencer, but I don't know exactly what the best way to place her as. She's in the Philippines, and she's mostly been makes commentary on the politics in the Philippines. And something that she's noticed is that a lot of people try to stay away from politics because like when we talk about politics, it's like Capitol. Well, not for her, but Capitol Hill. It's something that's far away. It's legislation. It's law. Like, why do we need to? But politics is people. People's politics, and if we, like, everyone's favorite phrase, you might not mess with politics, but politics will mess with you. So, like, that's the clean one. So, but it's true. Like, we need to be aware. We got to be cognizant. Like, whether I know people don't want to get in the grit and get into the controversy, for lack of a better term, with other friends who have different views. But if we decide to just stand on the wayside with the status quo, then the status quo is going to take us away, and it might not be
Yeah.
good.
You are making your stance when you do or do not do anything.
Yeah, and at the
Right.
least, just be informed. Just at the least, be informed.
At least being informed, because these are some things that our students might also be informed of and might have fears, anxieties, thoughts on that they don't really know where they might feel safe to share that, and you might be that person.
So I ask you, I ask you to share your thoughts on this because it seems that it's been rather prevalent, at least before COVID. But I guess I think there definitely are music teachers that still believe this. What is your response to the idea that in music education, our job is just to teach them, the chord notes and eighth notes? Like, where does politics fit in this? Why should we teach about politics when we are just music educators? I have a slant on this, but I'm curious to hear from your perspective. Why is that important?
Because, well, in my case, a big reason why I went to that transgender update session was because we have staff and faculty who are trans. Our kids see that. And so, uh, if the saying goes, it takes a village. I am part of that village of trying to nurture these children to become better human beings. And so, sure, I can teach them about the quarter note. I'm teaching them about how to play all these notes on the recorder for a field trip coming up soon.
Yep.
But at the same time, the curriculum is jazz. And so it's Black History Month. Oh, wow, that worked out. I can teach about jazz and Black history at the same time. But in relation to the staff at my school who are trans, they're unfortunately, the children are not saying the kindest things about them. And I work with these people and I care about them. How can I nurture this community and help them and help teach these children to become better human beings? And what better way to do it than through music? And a big reason why music is so important to our society and to us as human beings is because it helps us learn to be better. It helps us connect and try to nurture that through music and teach them that this is why music became such a huge thing, because of the civil rights movement, because of all these anthems and all these protest songs, but also how it applies to our situation with building a better how can we be kinder people?
Mm.
There's a song that we can sing to help us remember that.
I love that. Jasmine, yes, did you want
Yeah,
to interject?
I was
And it would not be chaotic harmony if we if we didn't have some chaos. First off, unfortunately, right as Jasmine was going into her spiel on something, I forget what it
on
was,
something.
on something, both her laptop and my laptop died. So, and then, of
Mine
course,
didn't.
yeah,
I know. It
Jamie
was truly a
is the
sign that me and
harmony
John.
in this chaos. Um, but regardless, thank you, listeners, for rolling with it. But I think just we talked about a lot of things, a lot of good stuff. But we also talked about things that we wish to improve. We talked about how CASMEC is very secondary focused, and we wish to see that change. We also
Yep.
talked about how a lot of conferences in general, but CASMEC included, like while lesson plans and how to approach school classrooms in the classroom sphere is important. It's good to also talk about the greater politics because that affects our kids. So those are important things to talk about. But how can we have CASMIC improve? Whether it's one of those 2 points or something else. Um, yeah, how can CASMIC improve? Maybe Jamie, you want to start with this one as
I
you're cleaning your
will.
glasses.
Well, just to reference what we were talking about earlier, John, you were mentioning how last year we both, Jasmine and I, were saying, "Oh yeah, CASMIC is getting better." But then I also mentioned earlier in this episode how it seemed like more products were being more advertised. There was more advertisements and things
More
being sold to
commercials for
us.
sure.
Yeah, and not just in the vendors hall with all the booths and everything. We're also talking about in the sessions themselves. And so a lot of the sessions and presenter were sponsored by people who are in the vendors booths, like music, West Music, Parapol, Music
Quaver.
Play, Quaver, and all these different organizations and companies and stores. They Most of these sessions, especially the elementary ones that we went to, it kept feeling like they were just trying to sell us their products and sell
Mm.
us their curriculum and sell us subscriptions to their websites. And I uh, at least our colleagues and that we talked to, we didn't really appreciate that because it felt not sincere or authentic, in my
Wait,
opinion.
are you saying, like, for example, Natasha's session, they also felt like you also felt like there were
No,
people selling, or no?
she wasn't sponsored by anybody.
Okay, so
So,
other sessions, like, it just felt like
yes.
it was a lot of buy,
Like, it would
buy,
be like,
buy.
"Oh my gosh, here's our products. If you wanna learn more about this lesson, subscribe."
Oh,
Yes. Natasha's wasn't like
DLC.
that, and there I'm not saying all the elementary sessions were. There are definitely a few like hers and a couple of
Mhm.
others who, did not try to sell us things. They were just like ORF teachers or elementary teachers trying to just teach. But it felt like most of them that we went to were, for example, presented by the same person who was sponsored by Music Play. And so his content was, "Oh, here's our website, and here you can find me, and you can find more of my stuff if you subscribe to us," basically. And then there's this other guy who also had good material, and he said, "Oh yeah, my notes are on my Patreon, and here's a QR code." And so we went to the QR code, and it did not give us the notes because we had to pay for it.
Wow. So the notes of the
Yes.
session you went to, you could not access because they wanted you to subscribe.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it went to like a link to a YouTube video of a tutorial of what we went through, but it didn't have actual notes or sheet music or things that we could access unless we paid for it.
Hmm.
So that's why I I guess I'm just trying to figure out. I've never been on that side of organizing a conference. I've never
Mm.
been in that space. But at the same time, it felt like there are these kind of like we were mentioning earlier about all these like people in leadership of CASMIC and in leadership of CMEA run by all these people who have no idea what we do or what our work is. And they think, "Oh, yeah, there are all these companies and they're paying us for these spots. So why don't we go ahead and give them these sessions? Oh, this is more elementary, right?" And it's like, they think they're giving us what we want, but it's not actually authentic.
I think
Okay, so
hopping on that, if I could hop on that, it's also
sure.
just like I felt like a lot of the sessions like I said, there's like Natasha's and a few other exceptions. Like I went to one on music learning theory that also gave me a lot of different ideas. But a lot of them were like, and I've had this conversation with Jamie where it was very convenient, where it was like, this is every like, here's your lesson plan. Where really feel like for newer teachers who are coming to CASMEC, they need to learn, especially in the elementary realm, how do I make these lesson plans? How do I think about an ORF lesson? How do I incorporate like improvisation in these things rather than, okay, so you're just going to go onto this PowerPoint and you're going to click play and you're going to go to the next slide, next slide, next slide. And it's all wrapped up in a nice bow. I feel like that's also where I saw a lot more of that at these sessions. And then they're like, well, if you want more of that, subscribe.
I remember an earlier conversation, maybe Jasmine, you were on it. We were with Genesis. We were talking about this. We're talking about frictionless. We're talking about
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
desire
yeah.
to be frictionless, and I think it's funny. I think we were focusing more on the students,
Yes.
but it just as much applies to us teachers. Like we had desire for a frictionless approach, but in the end, teaching is just as much of teaching involves learning just as much as students need to learn how to do music. We need to learn how to do teaching, and that involves friction. It involves like rubbing your hands against the dirt of life. Sorry, I was going somewhere there, but like,
Yeah.
essentially, yeah, we gotta feel the grit so that we can learn what our boundaries are, what the things that work do, and what doesn't work. And if we just look for just the quick buy and I got it, it's not how life works at all. But
No.
what it got
How are
For
you
me
sure.
supposed to
really.
teach grit unless we experience it ourselves?
Well, it's that, but also, like, when you're thinking about it, it lessens our profession. Like, if you can just go on an app and teach music like
100%.
that, like, I feel like that takes away us as elementary music educators when you're like, "Oh, yes, subscribe to this." And that if that's what's being represented as what elementary music is, like, I understand that that is a pathway to utilize that as a supplement, in my opinion, at least. But I feel like there's so much more that could be done, but it feels like the commercialized apps and subscriptions were the primary source of what elementary music sessions were and I feel like that represents elementary music to college students. That represents it to student people who are maybe interested in the elementary music and don't really know what it is. And it turns into, oh, well, I just got to subscribe to this app or I have to subscribe to this program.
I
I
also so go ahead.
I I know I upset my former roommates whenever I say this. I've never viewed myself as a great teacher, because I know the ceiling is so high. But when I kept on hearing from other district people, other colleagues, other people, like how many music teachers teach from YouTube? I could not tell you how pissed off I was because of the very thing you mentioned, Jasmine. It kills our advocacy. If
It
you're
does.
only teaching from YouTube, from a simplified app, if you are not engaging with students, why bother? Why bother having it?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know we've talked about our future episode in the eventual with AI. Like if we
Yeah.
are constantly just outsourcing our intelligence and outsourcing our gift of teaching to some sort of program, then what are we doing as teachers?
And sometimes it's not really held accountable either because included in some of those sessions that were being sponsored and sold by some of these presenters, they were presenting music that I from from other cultures or inspired by other cultures that I'm not sure if it really represents it accurately.
Mhm.
So, I and I mean, we've talked about this at last year's as well. This the same presenter who keeps like culturally appropriating
Oh, did the
her
same person
student.
come again?
Yeah, she did. We decided not to go to her session because we're like, I don't know why we should keep going to her session anymore.
Mhm.
Because, like, presenters like this continue to come to CASMEC, and they're not really held accountable for their materials to see whether they're actually culturally appropriate or not.
I remember that
And
was sorry, finish
yeah,
up.
so I guess, like, just to finish my thought because this is chaotic harmony, we go through struggles and solutions. I wish that a way to make this better and to improve CASMEC would be to actually listen to our feedback and to listen to our voices and not give us what they think we want.
You're right. Like, it seems like you've been shouting this from the rooftops for quite a bit. Like, hey, just do culturally appropriate stuff. Like, it's not that hard. It shouldn't be.
It's
It,
not
it
hard to do
shouldn't be. Well,
It's inconvenient to some, but I don't think
yes.
it's hard. And that's my big take is like if it's that inconvenient, then maybe choose something else for now until you have the time to do it.
So,
Yeah, I feel like it's that convenience culture
yeah.
of here's a lesson presented to you if you subscribe, or here's AI to make this lesson for you, or here's a YouTube video that you can just present. It, when people present these things that are like that have the labels of multicultural, or like it has like this is Hispanic or this is Black or this is Asian American. Oh, you can do this for Lunar New Year. Then they just teachers are so busy, and I understand that we're burdened with so much stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many teachers who are leaving teaching for good reason. And I see so many of my like past colleagues and like past classmates who are not teachers anymore. And so I don't blame them for that. But at the same time, if you're in it, then I feel like if you care enough about teaching and about the work that you're doing, then you should do the work because this is for the sake of our students, of our children.
Or if you feel like that work is too much, don't be afraid to collaborate with others. Like
Yes.
sometimes you feel like you're a lone island because you're the only music teacher at your school, but even like talking with other music teachers on like the primary or the secondary levels, there's been multiple times where Bryan and I like have had conversations on repertoire he's utilizing and then doing the research on both of our ends and talking about, is it culturally appropriate, is it responsive to our students populations, do they have a like do they enjoy this music. But I feel like I get it, it can be hard and it can be scary to do the wrong thing. That's
Yes.
the biggest thing, is it can be scary to do the wrong thing and you might get called out on that. But that's why I feel like collaboration is even more encouraged, because then you have multiple people checking your back and checking and making sure that what you're doing this like appropriately, not appropriating a culture.
Yeah. I like that because I feel like a lot of people go towards convenient things because it is true. We have way too much on our plates. But I
Mhm.
love what Athena and Brittany mentioned in the last episode. It's easy for us music teachers to have an ego. We all humans have it. So, but as music educators, because our plate is so full, we should lessen that ego and see if we can collaborate, just like what you mentioned, Jasmine. I like that a lot. Um, so if
But
I'm
also
hearing you,
to not take advantage of that either, because Jasmine and I have been in situations where I mean, we're just talking to the choir here, but I feel like this just happens with so many people of different colors. Whether you're AAPI or BIPOC or however you identify, why is it us who always has to do the work? Or most of the work or the majority of the work in order to help other people understand. We try to do the work of helping you figure out where to go, or these are the appropriate resources. This is how to look for it. But then we get called on to do the rest of it for you. So it has to be a balance.
Mhm.
I need to stop doing this.
No, it's dead. 6-7's dead. We're all good. I don't know how to
It's
do this.
8-9 now.
Oh, get out.
Oh no.
I fully agree with you, Jamie. That is a deeper conversation for sure. But I
Mhm.
definitely agree that, like, yes, collaborate, but don't exploit.
Yeah,
Yes.
Um,
I
yes,
think so.
collaborate, but also don't. I think it's the antithesis of the Reddit idea of lurk more. It's like also put in your effort as well, you know? Um,
Yes.
yeah, collaboration isn't just exploitation. A it's a multi-person community engagement.
Mhm.
Um, I know last year we gave out our rating for CASMEC out of chicken nuggies. And so, Jasmine, you gave CASMEC 7 chicken nuggies out of 10, citing that you wish there was less talking sessions. Jamie, you get 8. You gave it 8 chicken nuggets, saying that it was improved since the last time. Where are you now in the year of our Lord 2026? Where are you now? How's this year's CASMEC?
You go
I'd
first.
honestly okay. I'll be completely honest and say I probably didn't go to as many sessions just because of the amount of like buy this, and I was like, oh. And I'd look at sessions now and be like, are they sponsored by something? Am I gonna be told I'm gonna buy something? Well, that's how I felt. Is like I went to at least 3 sessions where they're like, and make sure you buy this. And those were the ones that were sponsored. So I always looked and I was like, are you sponsored by something? If you are, I'm just not gonna go.
And there were
Uh,
some repeat presenters sponsored by the same company. So when we
so if
saw
I
their name,
saw
we're
one
like,
presenter, I
okay,
was like, okay, I'm just gonna go.
yeah.
Because I know this is how it's gonna run. So
All right.
honestly, I'm gonna give CASMEC this year probably like a 4.
4 chicken
4 chicken
nuggets.
nuggets. I'm lowering it a lot. Like, I'll be honest and say, like, I think it was mainly that, like, it was definitely more commercially, but also, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was about the same amount of sessions as last year, which wasn't many, where I was like, I pretty much got like a session per time slot, which I don't know if that's the same on all fronts because I'm like, but for elementary to only get 1 session per time slot, in my opinion, and secondary to have multiple different sessions about other things, and on like, I was like, okay, I feel kind of like we could have more sessions. But I think also this year, what I've noticed as well is I'm like, I would appreciate it if elementary got a bigger room,
Oh.
especially for things that incorporate movement. Like, I was like, they had an open space for sure. I was like, even for like Natasha's session, there's like a lot of people in the background who I think probably would have wanted to join, but we're already kind of crammed in a space as is.
It was the same room I had last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I was like, I feel like they should recognize. I understand that there's also big speakers for the secondary and they need that space. But being aware if like there is a movement teacher in the room that they're given a space because all the elementary sessions were kind of in the same hallway.
But Jasmine, don't you know elementary just does, circle games. That's it. They sit in a circle.
Well, we still need space to make a circle.
That can go back to our old question. How can CASMEC improve? Give better rooms. More space.
Mhm.
And
Jamie,
I
how
did
about you?
appreciate the performances though, like the children's performances. They were on the stage this year and not just out in
Okay.
the hallway. So I was like, honestly, I might even go up to 5 chicken nuggies.
We could do decimals.
Yeah, I'm like a 4.5.
4.5 chicken nuggets. All right.
Nice.
Jamie, how about you? How many chicken nuggets?
I was gonna say 5 out of 10 because as much as we griped about the advertisements, there were some redeeming factors. Last year, they did have a stage for elementary as well, for the elementary performances. I'm They started that last year. I'm glad that they're continuing that. And so this year there were more elementary performances from
Yeah.
other schools, including San Francisco Orff School. So we got to see our mentors and teachers there. That
Yeah.
was great.
Cool.
So that's a redeeming factor. Please keep that up because
Mhm.
our schools weren't ready for it, but hopefully in the future we can have our own students from our schools present as well at CASMEC or perform at CASMEC. Um, the other redeeming factor was about how we still had Natasha, we still had like the Gordon Music Lit Theory. I didn't go to that, but I heard good
No,
things
it's very
about it.
fun. That's why I was
Yeah.
like 4. Okay, I'll round up to 5. If Jamie rounds up to 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say a solid 5 because of those redeeming factors, but I but all the things that I've already said before make it less than last year, basically. They've got a lower rating because of all the things that I mentioned. And I feel like it would improve or continue to be better if we kept the elementary performances like on the stage and have more elementary representation that way, but also to have more variety of presenters, especially for elementary music, and not just ones that are sponsored by companies, because I'm sh- I'm sure there are people who need it and it's valuable to them, at least to get ideas.
It is
If
very
that's what it
supplemental.
is, yes, if it is for supplemental reasons, if it's just to get ideas and then you like sprout out wings from there, fantastic, great. I'm sure there's a time and place for that. But if it's just to gift wrap a lesson so that you can have them do the work and not have out of convenience, then I do not agree with that personally or professionally. Um yeah, I just feel like Jasmine and I don't know how many other teachers agree, but like I hope that they listen to us. I hope they listen
Yeah.
to our feedback. Another way to make it better is if chaotic harmony presented at CASMEC.
I mean, what better
Ah.
corporation to help be a sponsor? No, but no, for real. It's like if we come, I mean, I was gonna say, I feel
Oh,
like from everything you shared, it really is zero chicken nuggets because I wasn't there. And so if Chaotic Harmony
Well,
showcases,
we need to send in
maybe
an application.
no,
that's true.
yeah,
We could send one
So
in.
actually, on that note,
Viewers.
maybe just to like try to see the other side, maybe they had to have these presenters come because nobody else applied.
Signed up.
Maybe they didn't have enough people apply, so they were scrounging for people to come and
Mhm.
and hold all these elementary spaces. Maybe that's the reason. But also, like as someone who presented at CASMEC, I had to come up with the plan ahead of time and apply, and then I got a spot, and then I was able to present last year. So I feel like CASMEC can be a good way for more elementary teachers or presenters to come. And actually, that reminds me of a session that I went to for the elementary music educators forum, where a
Mhm.
bunch of elementary music educators were talking about, oh, can we get this? We need that. There was one person who asked, "Is there a podcast for elementary music?" And I was like,
It's
"Yes, there
us.
is. Yes, there is." She didn't know about us, and so I wanted to talk to her, but she left. But I figured if we present at CASMIC, that would be great.
well, I think this is an overall good call to action. Like honestly, if you are in any MEA, if you are all the people who listen to us and who've talked with us, you all have powerful voices. You have definitely important thoughts to share. Go to your MEAs, present there because it seems like at least if you're especially in the California area, like hey, we could do better at CASMEC. Why not you be the solution? So if you're listening to this and you live in California, put them out there. Just saying. Well, Jamie, Jasmine, I hope that CASMEC does do better next year. We're gonna look at it again next year. Hopefully we get more chicken nuggies and
Well,
uh,
you have to come up, and so we get a
Yeah.
better average chicken nuggets.
That's true. That's
Hey.
true. But
I don't know, he might lower it.
whoa, bro, whoa.
But then that's more facts.
Mm.
We get a more
Regardless,
accurate representation of
regardless
CA.
what happens, I hope that it is listened to. We hope that there's less bias cell, and um, I look forward to next year and we do CASMEC interview. Listeners, you know what's up. We're going to be back. We're going to take a quick break since we had already a chaotic break, but we're going to take another quick break and we'll be back with our spiccato.
Hey, we just want to take a quick moment to shout out Mission Trails Financial, the partner making this show possible at no cost to you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by financial planning, you're not alone. But Mission Trails Financial is here to make things simpler. They offer tailored financial advice for you, from investments to tax and insurance planning, with a team of experienced fee-based advisors who are CFP designated and fiduciaries. That means they're putting your best interests first. Let's face it, navigating the world of finances can feel like drinking from a fire hose with endless options for investments just a mouse click away. But Mission Trails Financial aims to cut through the noise by breaking things down into clear, actionable steps while providing regular updates. Mission Trails Financial believes everyone has the right to work with a financial advisor regardless of how much you've saved. Mission Trails Financial's focus is building a relationship so you are not traveling your financial path alone. They even help you keep track of old 401ks when you're transitioning between jobs, because your financial future should always stay on track, no matter what changes. So don't wait. Let Mission Trails Financial show you how to make that next step towards the future you've worked hard for. Plus, your first consultation is absolutely free. Just visit missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 today. You'll be glad you did, because leaning on professionals like Mission Trails Financial is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more details. Advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor.
And welcome back. But before we continue, you know what's up. A hard left turn. Thank you so much. I know we talked about buy, sell, but also we talked about how, like, you know, it's hard being a teacher and it's hard doing these things. So if you really do enjoy this podcast, please do support things you love. We're not going to paywall
No.
listening to this. But we do have Patreon, though. Patreon.com/CHClassroom, where you can get special merch and also other things for the class. The Patreon is revamped. January's principles are out. We also have a February newsletter of what's to come. It's been a little bit of a shifting of stuff, but yeah, like, do check us out. And again, don't worry, these things are free. These episodes are free. But if you want to get the unedited episode where it gets crazy, patreon.com/CHClassroom. However, we recognize subscriptions are weird, so we get it. So if you just love the work we do and you want to give a one-time donation, buymeacoffee.com/chaotic harmony. If you donate there, you can give a shout out or request a spiccato. But if you don't have a coin to toss away, that's okay. But there are free ways to support us. You can leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Those right now are the only two places that offer those things. Speaking of which, we do have a new review.
What?
I know.
Hey,
Thankfully,
let's go.
Athena, after being a part of our episode, she decided to drop us a review, and it's really
Let's go,
lovely.
Athena.
My
Yay.
favorite weekly music ed podcast to help me reset, plan, and validate all things that keep me inspired. Each of the hosts give so many great ideas, and the guests are phenomenal. This is a must for elementary music teachers. That's very sweet, Athena. So I know y'all listen to this. It would be great if you go on Apple Podcasts, if you listen via there, and leave us a review. We'll read it just like this. And you know what's up. 5 stars only. To that little skibbity that give us 1 star. Fix it. So also to add, you can also follow us on YouTube, socials. Leave a nice comment.
How about a kind comment?
Sure, a kind comment, a loving comment.
There's a difference.
There is different. But you know what? I'll even take nice over some of the things I've read. Oh my goodness. So but regardless, all these small things ensure that these lights and mics stay on. We've been chatting a lot of important stuff. So we're going to do a kind of like a lightning round spiccato. It's still the reverse spiccato where we roll the wheel, and whatever it lands on, we have to come up with a whatever lesson idea it lands on, we have to come up with an item to do it. We don't have to have it on us, but just think of a household item. So we're not like, doing it.
Oh, thank goodness.
Okay.
Right.
I was like searching.
And thus rolls the wheel, and reading notation. How or what is a household item that you could use to teach a child to read notation? Jamie, you got something?
Chopsticks.
Chopsticks. Okay. Expound.
Most music educators I know about stick notation. And so when I start, I just use lines and connecting lines. And so what better way to do that than chopsticks with line notation?
I feel like I've done this before. I said this before, but we always have new listeners. On top of chopsticks, pieces of paper, something I like to use. Thank you, Richard Lawton, for this idea. I'm sure he's not the only one, but he's the one that taught me. placing down papers, having that be the beat, and then just without saying a word, putting down chopsticks or rhythm sticks, and then they can clap what's on the beat, remove it, add to, change the color into a different kind of body percussion, but that's another way to add on to the reading notation.
I'm going to be so mad if you've already thought of chopsticks ahead of me.
I thought it was gonna be pom-pom. I did pom-poms. Like, you could do different colors. Big
Aw.
pom-poms, small pom-poms for your rhythms. So I use, like, large ones for, like, a whole note, but then you can get 2 small ones next to it, so your 8th notes.
Oh.
But then you can also color code them. So if it's red, it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Oh, so you do the solfege.
Very nice.
Okay.
You could
I
use
just
either
thought about
or.
fruit, you know? You said like pom-poms. What about apples, oranges?
That too. Oh, yeah.
Just make sure you.
This makes me think apples
about
and
vegetables?
bananas.
There's a story with that, but
What about-
we don't have time to share that. Actually, maybe
Yeah.
after one, or the Patreon episode. Regardless, okay, cool. So pom-poms, chopsticks, paper. Listeners, how or what would you use to teach a lesson on reading notation using a household item? And you can send it to us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. Jamie, Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us on CASMEC Review 2.0 or 2026. I know we shared a lot of thoughts, a lot of good stuff. If people wanted to reach out to you asking about how they could make CASMEC or maybe their conference better or anything in general, where can they reach you? I'll start with you, Jamie. How can they reach out to you?
You can email me at miss.fun.jun@gmail.com. Ta-da. How can they reach you, Jasmine?
You can reach me on Instagram at Jasmine Rice Flour. Rice like the food, flour like the food, or the baking ingredient. The OUR one.
The OUR one. And you can reach me at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Blue Sky, kind of. And you can find us at CH Classroom on the same socials as well. Yeah. And if you want to if you have ideas, you can always email us once again at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. I hope you all have a great second middling of February, and I'll see you on the flippity floppity. Oh, I'm so sorry. Wait. Pause.
What?
A shout. I want to make sure you give a plug. Jamie, something's happening. What's happening in February?
Oh, that's right. So I had to postpone and thank Crystal for switching with me, but I'll be presenting in San Diego for the San Diego chapter on February 28th.
So if you are in SoCal, we'll be at Richland Elementary. You can find us at STORF. I think that's it. Underscore somewhere there. I don't know. But do check it out. And Jamie is going to be awesome. If you went to her session at Kentucky, it's going to, you know what you're getting into.
So fun.
Amazing stuff. That all said. Listeners, all y'all, thank you so much. Until next time, bye.
Bye. See ya.
So I had a friend who was the most obnoxious person ever. And
And it's not me?
You know what? Surprisingly not. But when he heard, he had no clue about the raw feed, apples, bananas. But yeah, and this is this is maybe like middle school, but still. And so, but but he then thought, because we said you switch the vowel. It's like, oh, okay. So a lake te eight. No, it's just it's a lake to eight apples and bananas. E leak tea. Broski, you're broken. Hug your mom.
No.